Subtraction with regrouping. Sometimes when subtracting multi-digit numbers, the top digit in a column is smaller than the bottom digit, and you cannot subtract right away. When this happens, you need to regroup. Regrouping means to rearrange groups in the place values to carry out an operation. We use regrouping in subtraction when digits in the minuend are smaller than the digits located in the same place in the subtrahend. The next slides walk us through the process. We start with the ones column and try to subtract. Can we take 2 away from 1? Well, try it on your fingers. If you put up 1 finger, now try to put down 2 fingers. Since 1 is smaller than 2, we cannot complete the problem. What could we do? Take a moment to pause the video and think about it, and when you're done, unpause it. We can regroup using the tens. Instead of 681 being 600 plus 80 plus 1, we can regroup the numbers to be 600 plus 70 plus 11. We do this by crossing the 8 out and showing the new number, 7, and we'll continue with the next step on the next slide. But where did that extra 10 from the regrouping go? Here it is. We carry it over into the ones column. So again, we're taking 600 plus 80 plus 1, and we're rewriting it as 600 plus 70 plus 11. And now we can subtract the ones, and then the tens, and then the hundreds. So we have 11 in the ones column now as the top number, and if we do 11 minus 2, we end up getting 9. And then we subtract the tens. Will we subtract 8 minus 5 or 7 minus 5? And why? Well, if you remember, we rewrote 600 plus 80 plus 1 as 600 plus 70 plus 11. So that's why this 7, or the 8 in the middle column, became a 7 when we regrouped. So we need to make sure that we do 7 minus 5. And when we do that, we end up getting 2. And then 6 minus 4 is 2. So the difference between 681 and 452 is 229. Some of you may be asking, isn't regrouping the same thing as borrowing? When quite a few of us learned about subtracting numbers, we were told to borrow an extra 10 from the column to the left. The term borrow makes it sound as though you've taken something away from another number and you're making its value different. However, that's not what's happening at all. Instead, we are rewriting our higher numbers using different addends or regrouping the numbers together. And as explained, 681 can be rewritten as 600 plus 80 plus 1 is the original number, but you can also rewrite it as 600 plus 70 plus 11. So then that way you can do the subtraction in the ones column with 11 minus whatever number is below it. When finding the difference of two 3-digit numbers, you must make sure that the digits are lined up based on their place value. For example, 574 minus 159 should be written as 574, and then place the minus sign a little bit further to the left so that the 1 in 159 is aligned with the 5 from 574. And that will also help line up the 5 and the 9 with the 7 and the 4, respectively. Then we can find the difference in the ones column. Well, 4 is not larger than 9, so before we do the subtraction, we need to regroup. We need to make the 7 become 6 and 1 more, and the 1 will carry over into the ones column and make the 4 into a 14. And now we can do 14 minus 9, which is 5. Then we can find the difference in the tens column. 6 is larger than 5, so we do not need to regroup in this scenario. We can actually do the subtraction. 6 minus 5 is 1, and then we can find the difference in the hundreds column. 5 minus 1 is 4. So the difference between 574 and 159 is 415. To help you remember when to regroup with subtraction, think of this rhyme. If more is on the floor, go next door and get 10 more. If we look at our example, do we need to regroup it? Well, if we look at the hundreds, it doesn't look like it. Tens doesn't look like it, but the ones, yes, we are going to need to regroup. So let's go through that process in order to help us find the difference. Well, we have 500 plus 60 plus 8. And when we regroup, we're going to rewrite it as 500 plus 50 plus 18. So we can cross the 6 out and make it a 5, meaning 50, and we can replace the 8 with 18. And now we can do 18 minus 9, and we end up getting 9. And then we can continue subtracting in each column. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 5 minus 4 is 1. So 568 minus 429 is 139. Let's practice with another example. 546 minus 29. Well, first, what number is in the hundreds column of our second number? It actually ends up being 0. So we can put a 0 in this location to help us with the alignment of our columns. And now we can perform the subtraction problem. So 6 minus 9. Can we do that? We actually can't. And if you'll remember, if there's more on the floor, go next door and get 10 more. So this 46, instead of being 40 plus 6, is going to become 30 plus 16. And now we can do the subtraction. 16 minus 9 is 7, and 3 minus 2 is 1, and then 5 minus 0 is 5. So 546 minus 29 is 517.